From the Standing Stone Farm Studio right outside downtown Nashville, it's time for the most ridiculous sports podcast in the world. So sit back, relax, and listen as Bobby Butler and Brandon Bond crack open a cold one and talk all things hockey, pop culture, and complain about everyday situations. It's the Pucks Out Podcast on the Penalty Box Radio Network.
Welcome into the most ridiculous podcast in sports and pop culture. I'm Bobby. He's Brandon.
Hey-o.
You can find us on the three majors of social media at Pucks Out Pod. Now let's crack open this cold Mayday beer and let's get after it. We are just about a week and 1 day away where you can catch us at Mayday Brewery hosting bingo night where you can win some Nashville SC tickets, some free beer, meet some dope people, and just have an overall great time. So don't forget to meet us out there March 2nd at around 5 p.m.
Again, Bobby guarantees you will make friends. I'm not guaranteeing that. So
guaranteed.
I don't know who you are as a person. So I can't speak to
it. Today we've got a goal of the year candidate. We are talking the 43rd anniversary of Miracle on Ice. We've got some other news from inside the league and outside the league. We are plugging a big main topic that we're covering in the weeks to come. And, like always, games of the week. And we've got a really interesting questions from the internet that ties into our pop culture segment. But how are you this week, bud?
Doing great, man. Especially today. Wasn't feeling too great yesterday, so I was actually kind of glad you called it. Called on recording, but today, great day out, 75 degrees. You said, hey, sorry to do this, man. Can I push it back even a little bit more to about 5? And I said, well, all right, because the Beer Boys, which is my father-in-law and my uncle-in-law, who live right across the street and behind me, were like, hey, 3:30 for some beers and some horseshoes. And obviously
nice.
I was like, yeah, I was just glad I didn't have to cancel on you, Bob. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I mean, I'd have had to push the recording back. I got stuff to do. But yeah, so great day outside. But yeah, man, excited to go to this Purdue Indiana game. Looking forward to being at Mackey Arena. No longer probably a top 10 matchup, but maybe a close to one. So I mean, either way,
yeah, that's a little bit. So I was
sick.
telling the wife you were going out of town to see a game, and I couldn't remember what it was. I was like, I think it's Penn State, Illinois. Not really sure why he chose that matchup, but I was close. Yeah. I had the right letters.
Purdue, Indiana, and it's in Taylor, Ryan's buddy, who's going on the bachelor party with us, is from that area. I think he may have gone to Purdue, or he at least grew up a Purdue fan. So we're staying at his folks' house. So it was, a big, not a huge investment in the ticket, but more than I normally would pay for a ticket. But not having to pay for a place to stay and stuff like that. So looking forward to that for sure. But otherwise, bro, just been hanging out. Stephanie's got a bunch of school, so I've just been playing Xbox out the yang, brother. So how you been doing, man? I mean, seems like you've been pretty busy. Can't really relate myself, honestly, but
yeah, man. Work has been absolutely hectic. It's that time of year. It is slow, but this is that time of year when we get caught up and get all the stuff in, and get stock supplied up. I'm with starting the new teaching job in August. I'm kind of trying to get a bunch of stuff done now because I'm also studying. Spending a couple hours a day studying for the praxis test, which is the test to get my teaching license. So, yeah, it's just been a lot. But I'm excited to. That's why I'm excited for this beer. Excited to talk some hockey, talk some other stuff. Don't forget to check us out on Twitch as well, where we hang out a lot, drink some beer, and play some games, and maybe some other stuff. Quick fit check. I'm nothing special over here, just rocking a Preds hat and literally a plain gray T-shirt that I just threw on when I got home from work. What about you, dude?
Nice. Got the old Bubba Gumps shrimp and company hat on, from my Forrest Gump Halloween costume. I was like, hell yeah. Got that bad boy. Had to rock
Nice.
the Beaver Fever, baby. You know what I'm saying? It's just a great day
Yeah.
outside. It just brought to my
Love that
mind
shirt.
Oregon State Beavers is what came to my mind today. So got that
Yeah.
Beaver Fever. But otherwise, bro, I'm glad we're not going a full check down because just the sweatpants and the old house shoes down on the bottom half. So
Yeah, I actually have real pants on. Usually, I mean, sometimes, like I think last
there
week I
you
was
go.
rocking boxers. This week, and sometimes usually just gym shorts. But I've
There
just
you go.
got the only thing I did was I threw on slippers when I got home. Got out of my tennis shoes, and immediately threw on some slippers.
There you
Got to
go.
rock those bad boys.
There you
But
go.
let's jump into the news.
Everything you need to know about what's happening on the ice. It's time for news from inside the boards.
We have got a goal of the year candidate. It says who else? Fifth fastest person. I'm assuming it's old Mick Jesus, Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
I have not seen it
You
yet.
got it. You got
But
it.
one can only assume.
But
Yeah, I'm about to open it and watch it for myself.
that means that the who else option there was correct, right? I mean, you understood immediately who it was. It's nasty, bro. It was gross. Does a little
What? I need to
does
see
a
that
little
again.
oh yeah, does a little like ridiculous black. I didn't even
Ooh.
see the goal, like a couple times. Like it was so quick.
Yeah,
But
like,
not the
it's just
the setup of the goal was so ridiculous. Like a 360 like behind the back with the puck. It was just nasty, man. It's a goal of the year candidate. I put it in Pucks Out finalists in the title of this document. So we'll know because
yeah.
I'm gonna have a hard time finding one that beats that out because that's the whole package right there. I mean, my man's was right at the blue line, and in about that clip is about what 6 seconds, and in 6
5
seconds
seconds.
he is down the ice after having spun and puts a shot in. I didn't even realize the shot went in. It took me like 2 or 3 watches to watch when he actually shot it. So
Yeah.
nasty.
I mean, it's almost not fair. It's like they permanently have an extra man on the ice when he's there. It is absolutely insane. I wonder when the time will come when he and Leon decide that they're not going to win a cup there. And, you have to think Edmonton is freaking out that if they don't win a cup in the next 2 years, they're going to lose this guy, right? He's gone if they don't win a cup in the next 2 years, or if they're not on the verge of winning a cup in the next 2 years.
Maybe. This is a game against the Flyers. This is the game against the Flyers. So I would just suggest going and seeing it. It was about 14 minutes left in the third quarter. Maybe you'll throw the clip in there. But it's just a Reddit clip. So I don't know if they have like an easy clip to add. But go watch it because it's gross.
Yeah. 100%. 43rd anniversary of the Miracle on Ice.
It's a big anniversary.
Do you believe in miracles? Yeah.
That's a big anniversary. That's a discussion
yeah.
anniversary, right? You discuss it.
Yeah. 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 I'm reading your words here. I don't know if these are your words. If you got them somewhere, a bunch of college kids took down the 4-time defending gold medalist Soviet Union, perhaps the greatest hockey team ever assembled. That is a period, not a question mark. The United States had the youngest team in the tournament and in U.S. national team history. I mean, that really was just not my words. I mean, obviously we were too young. We didn't get to live it, but I mean, we got to see the movie. And
I was gonna say when Kurt Russell coached those kids to victory, it felt like it was a lot more recent than 43 years ago. That's all I'm saying. No, those were not my words, Bobby. But I just wanted to throw a quick synopsis in there. It is widely regarded as the biggest underdog story ever. I don't know if we wanted to plug this now or later. We can probably just plug it now and skip it. We'll discuss
now and later.
Yeah, we'll discuss the biggest underdog winners in sports history next week. Found a good article that has about 15. We'll maybe add a few, take a few out. But yeah, that should give us a good discussion. And just to kind of highlight this Miracle on Ice, spoiler alert. I mean, it's the number one. I mean, when people ask, oh, could Alabama beat any NFL team? No, it could not. Like that's the type of thing that happened. Alabama, or not even an Alabama level of college football team went in and beat an NFL team. Not just the worst NFL team, but they went in and beat the Chiefs. You know what I'm saying? Like this is the level of disparity that was on the ice. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about some of those. There's some that I can remember being a part of, even, and there's some that were a little outside of our range. Bob, we'll have to maybe do a little bit of research or reading on those. So
yeah, it's wild to think that that hockey team absolutely broke Russia. I mean, they've been taking L's ever since then. They're getting their ass whooped from Ukraine.
That's what I'm saying.
They've been
this wasn't some KHL thrown together, cheap team. That was the team. I mean, they played together. It wasn't like even if we had NHL and big stars, there was not the cohesion that you see from a team that's assembled like this. It's not like basketball.
I mean, it's not. Yeah, it's not far fetched to say these were also like genetically enhanced Russian. Like they were juiced. They were juicing their players. I mean,
I'm not gonna say one way or the other. I mean, I've seen what they did to like Natasha Romanoff and all of them. You know what I'm saying? And those are stuff that's like low key that they don't even really care about as much as winning hockey. So no, it was ridiculous, man. So looking forward to discussing that a little bit.
Yes. The Ryan, I'm assuming Ryan O'Reilly. Is that what I'm looking at here?
Yes.
Okay, Ryan O'Reilly. I was looking. I was like, who the fuck is our? But Ryan O'Reilly to the Leafs, and he gets the Hattie. I mean, I love seeing players traded, then almost immediately a team getting return on it.
Yeah,
it is, especially when the trade wasn't done on the same day as deadline. Who would have thought you could make trades before deadline?
Dude, we are on it.
We
man.
thought it. We knew it. We've been talking about it.
We are on it, dude. It seems that there's been a lot more moves and discussions of moves early. Do we have a final date for did we ever find that trade deadline date? Let's see here. I'm going to look it up.
I don't know if people will believe us since we fucked it up so bad last time we talked
March
about
3rd. So it's
Friday,
coming.
March 3rd.
Yeah, so it's coming up.
Yeah.
So not next week's show, but the following week's show. But I mean, you may have one or two, but I feel like we've had a couple of big moves. I mean, Tarasenko and Ryan O'Reilly are highlight trades for the NHL for the trade deadline.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're going to see some pieces.
I think that this trade hurts the Preds. I think that the Leafs were a team that the Preds could have sold a bunch of players to and not have to like hold on to contracts. I think now, I mean, the Leafs have made some big moves. I think that they might be done. I don't think they have the cap space to make any more big moves. And I think the Preds need to get off the pot and move some players because soon there's going to be a bunch of teams with all these moves being made that can't afford to get Preds players. So the Preds are going to end up having to take, maybe taking half of these contracts and stuff like that.
Well, and just to your point, we can just bring up the next point because it really kind of ties in here. I mean, Ryan Johansson's set for surgery. I mean, it's time to make your call. I mean, you're 5 games above 500. That's the unfortunate part. You're 4th. You could make a playoff. Yeah. You could make a playoff spot there. But I mean, a team like the Blues is selling. It's tough. It's you don't want to see them, not give up on the season, but there's some pieces there that they could definitely move and get some value for now. But like you said, I don't think I want them to buy. I think I would want them to stay put or sell or, make a comment on the fact that they're staying put. I mean,
yeah. Speaking of the Preds, we're talking about getting shitting to get off the pot, especially in terms of rebuild. Unfortunately, yesterday, this came off of 1025 The Game. I think it was Robbie and Joe Rexler were talking about it, and David Poyle wouldn't, when asked about a rebuild, much like last year when he used the phrasing competitive rebuild, which at the time it looked like it was good. We made it in the playoffs, but then we all saw that no, that wasn't great. It just kind of extends the pain and suffering. He now said that this is not going to be a rebuild, but a reset, which makes me think I don't know what to think about it being a reset.
Yeah, I don't. It's hard. It's really hard. The worst part is I wish you never want to get swept, but we got swept by the clear best team. No chance, no question, no option for a lot of teams to win, much less our team. I would have really liked to play somebody else in the first round to really gauge closer to what we have. You know what I'm saying? Like, not that I think we were winning the cup or anything, but if we go out there and we lose, 4-2 or 4-3 or something in a 7-game series, it looks a lot different this year, right? Than just getting absolutely trounced.
Yeah.
But you got to ask yourself, was the trouncing because we saw Colorado Avalanche last year, bro. I mean, there ain't no question that they were clear levels above the competition. I don't think that even if we ever picked against them, I don't think it was because we thought that they didn't have the talent. It was the mindset that I think that we really didn't know about. And brother, their mindset was there. Didn't they lose like 2 games or something, like 4 or 5 games the whole time?
Something crazy like that.
It was very low. So, but yeah, I really don't like we've talked about coach talk and GM talk. I don't like that. Or reset. What is that? What did he entail? Did he give a definition of what he means by a reset? Like, what does that mean? Like, we're going to just start the season back at 0, or we're going to throw everybody. This is going to be a fantasy draft. We're going to throw everybody back in and everybody just redrafts like we're playing Madden or NHL, very, very interesting terminology. Like, nobody is ever going to ask you to not push for wins or whatever, but like we would like a more clear-cut vision of the future.
We want to have a plan.
Yeah.
I think David Poyle, I think this trade deadline, I have always been on the thing that, you know what, David Poyle, I think obviously knows more than us. I think he does things for a reason, but I think at a certain point we have to say, enough is enough. And it depends. I think this is the year that this is a career making or career ending choice for David Poyle and how he handles this trade deadline. If he doesn't make the moves that we as the fan base is expecting, that the investors are expecting, the season ticket holders are expecting, and if it backfires, he probably needs to be gone after this season.
Yeah, I just don't know who you bring in to where are you going? Where are you changing it? But go ahead.
Yeah. But yeah, so we talked about Sergio Ryan Johansson. Let's move into outside the NHL.
Now that you know what's happening inside the boards, time for the rest of the headlines with news from outside the boards.
Ooh, Chad Ochocinco said he lived in the stadium while playing for the Bengals. Do you think he at least made a dope-ass a mixtape like Kanye did?
Excuse me. No, I think he probably treated it more like Baker did when he lived at Progressive. Honestly, most people said that. If most people said this, I would be like, all right, dude's clearly lying. Like, I
believe it for some reason.
Dude, like it was never even a especially with all of like the internet these days and how, cynical you got to be when looking at things on the internet. You're like, fake, double check that, make sure it's not a satire site. Honestly, satire site, not satire site, I believe Ocho Cinco if he said he lived at the stadium, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, and not only like did he like, oh, he spent the night there a couple times. Like, I'm betting that dude found him a room and like gussied it up.
Got mail there.
Had TV. That's what I'm saying. Like, he put his address, like the mail carrier. He had to like give him an assortment of codes to get through in the stadium. And I'm just very confused because the stadium is not where a lot of stuff happens, right, Bob? I mean, it's usually like the practice. They have their own practice facility. Right. Like he had to get out. It's the more we talk about it.
We've driven by some stadiums. I could, like, for example, I think some stadiums have the practice facility next door. We've driven by that stadium. The practice facility is not right next door.
It's on a river, dude. Like, it's on a river.
He's dealing with traffic to get to practice every day.
Maybe that's why he was there.
He's like
like the riverfront. He's a big Chad Ochocinco's a big fan of the Reds.
He was trying to get. He got squatters' rights, and he's like, maybe I can flip this, and when I'm ready to sell, I can just for sale by owner this bitch.
See, the problem with that theory is, Bobby. The problem with that theory is that it was in Cincinnati, so he never really had that opportunity anyway. But yeah, man. I mean. Like, but also, like, the stadium is not just exclusively football, right? Like, there's other stuff. Like, do you think, like, he was like, oh, I got to go out and, like, do some stuff, run some errands. And he's like, oh, shit, there's, like, a Taylor Swift concert happening. Like, excuse me. Like, I gotta get out of here. Like, yeah. My favorite part of Chad Ochocinco is that we call him Chad Ochocinco. Very rarely do you remember that his name was Chad Johnson.
It's Chad Johnson.
Chad Ochocinco. Remember when he changed Chad Johnson to Ochocinco and the NFL thought that they were going to get him and say, we're not going to call you that because we've already printed all these jerseys that say Chad Johnson, 85. And he was like, all right. And he just he bought all of them. He bought all of Chad Johnson jerseys. He probably sent them to, some, war-torn country. And there's a lot of Chad Johnson jerseys around just so this man could be called not even Chad 85, Chad 85. Okay. That's what Ochocinco is 85, not 85. So, hey, hats off to that guy. I mean, he showed you how to be a diva. I'll never forget when he pulled the cell phone out of the pad because they patted him down before the game and he pulled it out.
Did he also? This might have been a different receiver. Was he also the one who pulled the Sharpie out and signed the ball?
Yeah, that was on his person, but they started checking his person for props, and so he hit it. He got lucky. He scored a touchdown on the side that he probably hit two, to be honest, but he hit a cell phone in the like the pad, and so he went up and grabbed it. And this was before. Now they let him get away with like a lot of celebrations and stuff. That was one of the best moves the NFL made.
Pumps. Yeah,
but back in the day. You couldn't do anything. I remember one time the Titans scored a touchdown. Michael Griffin, the safety, scored, and he was a Texas Longhorn, and he scored a touchdown off interception, and he throws up the hook 'em horns, and then another Texas player that's also on the Titans defense threw it up as well, and they called it a collaborated celebration, and they got a penalty for it because two people threw up the hook 'em horn. And now we got people bowling and so it's
one of my favorite episodes of Family Guy, which released before they changed the rules, was when Peter Griffin got the job as the starting center for the Patriots.
Oh, the Patriots!
Him and the entire team to have the shapoopy, and it's like a 5-minute long musical, and Tom Brady is flipping his shit about it.
Yeah, he's pissed off at it.
Daniel Jones seeking $45 million per season. First off, I need to see what old Pat Mahomes is making per season. I mean, I think he is
Hundy.
I mean, I'm saying, he's an average salary of $45 million. So Daniel Jones is seeking the same salary as Pat Mahomes. You've got to be out of your goddamn mind, Daniel Jones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was $100 million contract. Yeah. 45 is way high. I mean, obviously the market's going to continue to go up as the salary cap goes up.
Yeah.
But
I'm not saying he's not worth
no.
30,
I heard
33?
exactly what you're saying. All right, here we go. Highest paid quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, 50. This is per year.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson, 49. Kyler Murray, 46. Deshaun Watson, 46. Pat Mahomes, 45. Josh Allen, 43. Derek Carr, 40. Prescott, 40. Stafford,
Is that Derek
40.
Carr's new contract with the Jets, or was that his Las Vegas contract?
I am not sure when this article
is Derek Carr even on the Jets yet?
This was 9-1. No, this was 9-1. No, that was his previous salary. But I mean, it's just 40 mil, just to put it into perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, Josh Allen's probably still on an early contract. He can probably get paid again for sure. 45 mil seems high for sure. 45 mil maybe 32. At a 2-year. All right, you know what? I'm giving him 45 mil. I'm probably not giving him 45 mil. But if you really want him to stick around, I'm maybe giving him 45 mil on like a 1 or 2 year contract. We're not talking a $100 million contract. A 45 at a 2 year. If you're doing that, because then it's a prove it. That's a prove it contract.
Yeah, and even then, that's if he's got a great agent playing fucking hardball. But I mean, I'm laughing.
They ain't drafting nobody this year, really. Not with their draft pick. Not anybody of note that you can bring in. I mean, Daniel Jones.
How much time does he have left on that contract?
Probably not a lot. He's probably on his rookie contract. So,
but let's see what it says here.
Yeah, I'm betting he's on his rookie contract because they were probably letting that play out.
I mean, they can franchise tag him, came in on the open market, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but the franchise tag is, I mean, you can, but you piss off a quarterback, and the franchise tag is like the average of the top 10, and so you're going to be paying him 45 mil.
It would be 29.5.
For the franchise tag?
The franchise tag would be 29.5 million.
Maybe I'm misthinking. Maybe it's the top.
The tag can be used as a placeholder. It's called the downside for the Giants is as soon as the tag is applied. Never mind. 32.4.
I was looking
at the transition.
That sounded way low.
For the salary cap. I'm not seeing how much left he has on his contract, but yeah, I mean, listen, I think Daniel Jones has the negotiating power here, but I think they meet in the middle. I think they come out at 36.
Yeah. New York Post is stating no sense that the Giants are going to really pay that. I mean, everybody's kind of saying exactly
I think that was just a negotiating first number.
We were saying. Yeah, maybe, but it got leaked and it made him look kind of silly, in my opinion. Yeah, he's on his rookie contract.
So when this stuff gets leaked, I think I don't like it when this stuff gets leaked because at the end of the day, I don't think Daniel Jones himself is saying, "Hey, I want 45." I think his agent says, "Hey, you shut up. I'll negotiate for you." And his agent starts out at a high number. This gets leaked, and everyone says, "Oh, Daniel Jones is greedy," and it's the agent doing the negotiating, knowing that he starts high. They're going to come out somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I don't blame Daniel Jones at all. Like he has an agent for sure. He's not Lamar Jackson, for God's sake.
Yeah.
He's on his rookie contract. That's why he's able to kind of look for something. I mean, yeah, 32 mil. I still probably not paying that for Daniel Jones, But the Giants have a good system. He worked really well in that system. A few additional offensive pieces there, build up that line a little bit better. He's a serviceable quarterback. Like, I'm not saying that he's not a guy that couldn't take his team deep into the playoffs and manage a game with some athleticism. But yeah, 45 mil is probably a bit steep.
Yeah. Yeah. Brittany Griner will return to the WNBA with Phoenix Mercury. Good to see she's back home. Good to see she's healthy. Good to see that she is back playing the game. I think that's a big score for the WNBA. She's a big name. She's an amazing athlete.
Yeah.
She has not played since 2021, I believe, when she averaged 20 and a half points and almost 10 rebounds to lead the Mercury to the finals.
Because she had a baby. Am I remembering that correctly? She had a child and was out for a bit, and then their whole stint in Russia.
Yeah.
She got arrested for weed, but we all know she got arrested because she was gay. So I mean, just be careful out there, folk. But yeah, it is a big win for the WNBA. She was one of the few athletes that I was like, okay, she probably wouldn't start, but she could be one of the 12 men on a basketball, on an NBA roster. She was, she really brought, we had folks like Lisa Leslie that dunked and stuff, but she brought dunking into the game. So, I remember watching her. I mean, that was the bane of Gino Auriemma's UConn run, right? I mean, I think that Griner had played a part in that, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, it's good to see her back home, especially for smoking a little weed, dude. Like, hey man, it's chill, Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah. Arizona has legal weed. Yeah, dude, it's even legal for her there, dude.
Let's move into our games of the week.
Games of the week. Bobby and Brandon do the work, so you don't have to. The best from around the NHL and what to watch.
All righty. Had myself a good week.
Yeah,
I went 4-1. I think you went 1-4.
I went one. I had a bad week.
The current record, I'm sitting at 50-31. You are sitting at 44-35-1. My current cash, I had a good week of betting too because I had some puck lines in there. $92.55. I don't know out of the possibility of what I didn't write that down. You're sitting at $86.13. Okay, so we're both sitting positive. The last 2 weeks have been good for, at least good for me. I think last week was good for you for betting. But yeah, so I mean that's looking good. Let's see. I'll jump right into it. My first game of the week, I've got Buffalo, who is looking good this season, heading into Tampa Bay. I'm gonna take Tampa. I think this is a pick'em game, and I'm gonna take the home team on this one.
Yeah, that was almost my pick for the game, but I was like, no, I'm gonna go out west, go to the Flames at the Golden Knights on the 23rd at 8 p.m. I'm going to go with the Golden Knights. The Flames have disappointed me in the past. I'm just going to stick with the straight money line, though. Yeah. So what do you? Nope. I think it's me. My Friday game is the Wild at the Leafs, 2:24 at 6 p.m. Making moves. It's still regular season. Going Leafs puck line here against the Wild.
Nice. All right. On Friday at 7 p.m., I've got Colorado at Winnipeg. This is a very good Winnipeg team this year. And obviously this is Colorado. They are Colorado. This is a game I'm going to be ballsy a little bit here. I'm going to try and win some money. I'm going to take Winnipeg on
okay.
I'm going to take Winnipeg money line on this one. Home team again. Winnipeg's looking good. I think they get the W.
I was going to say that puck line's probably just going to put you at a plus 1.5. So I like the call, the money line call there. For my Saturday game, I went with the Bruins at the Canucks, 6 p.m. Hasn't really failed me too much. So I'm going to go with Bruins puck line. Guessing they're going to be the overdog there, and so I'll probably get at least a little something with that puck line.
Yeah. Let's see. For Saturday, a morning matinee game, 11:30 a.m. Central Time. I got Edmonton and Columbus. I'm going to take Edmonton, and I'm going to take them puck line. Honestly, if I could take them -2.5, I would. But I think I'm just going to get -1.5. But I'm taking them puck
Careful
line.
careful what you wish for. I was looking at betting lines today, and Dallas's line against Chicago. Chicago is at 2.5 right now. So again, it's just whatever standard. So you might get that 2.5 there, bud. All right. So Sunday morning, going up to Buffalo. The Capitals are playing the Sabres at noon. I'm going to go with the Sabres money line. I was thinking puck line, but I think I'm just going to go with the money line there.
Nice. All right. So let's see here. We're moving into Sunday. I got Toronto at Seattle. Feeling a little bit risky. I think Seattle is another team that's been really good this year. When I wrote this, I was thinking Seattle, but this seems like a kind of game that Toronto wins.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm thinking Seattle myself. When I was looking at it, I was thinking you were going to go Toronto.
You know what? I'm sticking with my gut. When I originally wrote this, I thought Seattle. I don't want to tilt. I'm going to stick with my gut. I'm going Seattle money line.
Yeah, I don't dislike that call. I think that's a good call. Does Seattle have 2 T's in it though? Am I imagining it?
I don't know.
No, I don't think it does. You have 2 T's in it. That's why I can look real quick.
It does. SEA.
It does. Okay.
At least unless
crazy.
ESPN misspelled it.
That's crazy. You know, yeah. I mean, I'm not a spellsman. Okay, as evidenced by the fact that I just said spellsman. So
spellsman.
I'm not a spellsman. I'm no wizard. Okay, I don't even.
That sounds like a magician. I'm not a yeah.
I don't even have my Hogwarts legacy yet. So, but yeah. Okay. It just looked weird to me. So. Awesome.
What's funny is when I first wrote it, I had to double check myself because I too thought the 2 T's looked weird.
Okay.
But then when I wrote it with 1 T, it looked even weirder.
It also looks way weirder. Okay, good. I'm glad we're in the same boat here.
Yeah.
I have a Red Wings at the Senators game for Monday the 27th at 6 p.m. Red Wings, 7 of the last 10. Senators looking good as well. I'm going to go with the Red Wings. And I'm going to tell you, if I could put money on an over here, that is really where my money would be going for these 2 teams. Because they both seem to put up a lot of goals, but don't either of them seem to stop a lot. So Red Wings money line is where I'm going for my final game of the week.
Yeah. All right.
Really scraping the bottom of the barrel here.
I've got probably the 2 worst.
Yeah, scraping the bottom of the barrel here. Probably,
let me see. Are they the 2 worst teams? They might be the 2 worst teams in the league. Technically,
Arizona.
Technically, Anaheim is tied for worst at 41 points.
Okay.
Columbus has 41 points. Chicago has 43, and Arizona has 49 points. Anaheim, however, at this point in time has lost 6 in a row. Chicago has won 3 in a row. I'm going to take Chicago on this one. I think I'm going to take.
I don't hate that.
I'm thinking of taking puck line. I'm going to take puck line because I think they may get an empty netter at the end. So I'm going to take puck line. I'm not
Kane
super sure about this, but I think that's
right
where the money is. I think it's taking the Chicago puck line.
Kane is showing out right now.
He wants a good deal wherever he gets traded to.
Talk about him going to the Rangers, which would be absolutely insane for the Rangers there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that would be insane. But all right. Excited for hopefully I continue this streak. Let's move into our joke of the week.
The weird.
Corey Perry.
See, I don't like that. Wild. I think the first read was a good one. Now I'm overthinking it. Outlandish.
Each 6th chick sat on a stick. Little tongue twister.
And downright dumb.
You're kidding me.
It's time for the joke of the week.
All right, you found this one. Tell us a little bit about it.
You don't have this guy didn't seem like he had a bad gig. Seemed like he was pretty much on track for a pretty easy peasy life. But the Spanish transport secretary, I'm guessing like a transportation secretary, resigns after new trains are too big for the tunnels. And so before even actually getting into the article, Bob, I've just got a couple of questions. Is the transportation secretary the guy we're going to for measurements? It just seems like he's not the guy. It seems like a lot would happen. Before I've read it, it seems like he walks in with a catalog of something. He says, we want this. And some guy's like, no, sir, we can't. We have too small of tunnels. He's like, this. Okay, get this. I'm very confused about, why it's going that far up the line and why multiple people aren't saying anything. Like, that has to be an easy call, right? Like, all right, so let's get these, but let's make sure they fit, right?
Yes.
Have you
that is at the very minimum.
You usually do a little bit of research into the article, a little bit more than me. Have you found anything?
I haven't had a chance to read much of it.
Miguel Angel Rivera is the guy.
Two people were fired. Two senior officials, one at Renfe and the State Rail Infrastructure Company, that I guess so the private company that worked with them, proved insufficient to placate those angry over the poor plan and consequent delay. Spain's Secretary of State for Transport tendered her resignation. It looks like people are tendering their resignation because they made the decision to hire some people who fucked up. And the buck stopped with them, so to speak. So they are accepting responsibility.
Well, absolutely, because I would imagine that when they hired people, that there's requirements of like things that these people turn in, like progress checkups and stuff. I mean, it's the government. And I said it should be. I'm not saying that it always lives up to the hype there. But I mean, it just seems like you don't eyeball it. It just seems like that's what happened. They're like, it'll fit. It'll be good. Like there are a couple dudes that are just, instead of measuring the couch, they just assume it'll fit in the back of the truck. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't actually do any measurements, but the bad boy's too wide for the back of the truck or something. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, well, if Brian, your coworker does that when you guys are moving a couch, it sucks, right? It's, it's no big deal. Should have measured it, Brian. It just seems like when it comes to trains that there should have been multiple redundancies. Like the people they're buying the trains from are like, no, you guys are where? Well, since we obviously familiarize ourselves with the world's train tracks, it ain't going to work there because of your tunnels. And then somebody would have said, our what? And they would have said, you got too small of tunnels. You need a Wile E. Coyote or a road runner to paint them bigger or something, man. Like, what a joke, dude. Like,
yeah,
it seemed like you had a cushy job here, right? You just had a cushy job and you just gave it all up.
Yeah. But this is absolutely a joke. And honestly, I love reading it. Let's move in now to our pop culture. Last night, the wife and I and my mom went to go see the new Antman and the Wasp, Quantumania. Gonna talk spoiler freeze for here for a short time. It was all in all, it was a good movie. If I look at it in a vacuum, without looking at it from like a grand Marvel scheme, it was an okay action movie. It took a while to get going. There was some plot points that were kind of silly. The critics gave it like a 30%. They said it was absolutely horrible. The fan reviews gave it like a 96%, which
I've heard that's come down to about. I've heard it's come down,
good, right? Because yeah, maybe if I were to rate it on a scale of 100, I would give it a solid 83. I think it's a decent movie. It's
Yeah.
my wife absolutely hated it. She thought some of the plot points were dumb. I kind of explained to her why they kind of made sense from the comic point of view, but I think it's important to look at it from the point of view of not someone who knows the comics, because
Right.
the everyday fan, this needs to appeal to the everyday fan, and not just people who've read the comics. So to that extent, I get it. But
I'm looking.
yeah, it's just, I think that they're in a weird part of, and I told you that if I had to grade it on a scale of Thor: The Dark World to Infinity War, I'd give it an Iron Man 3. It was
Iron
a
Man 3
good
was
movie that to
a
set up
little
to get going.
lower. It was a little lower to me, but I got what you were saying. I got what you were throwing down with it. I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to seeing it.
it's
I'm
a
going to
good
go still
setup.
see it on the big
introduces
screen.
Kang. Yeah.
Yeah,
I will say, it is a movie that 100% deserves to be watched in theaters. It is a visual masterpiece. The
Yes.
special effects, everything on that was absolutely amazing. I'm glad I watched it on the big screen. It was a good looking movie, and it was. I had fun. I enjoyed myself.
Looking back, getting into this phase with Shang-Chi, I was very excited about this phase of Marvel. I thought that, and it's funny because
Yeah.
Shang-Chi was something that I was not really excited for at all, and it got me jazzed about it
Same
throughout
here.
the movie. I think
Yeah.
that's a bigger part of our problem as well, is that we've seen Ant-Man movies, we've seen Doctor Strange movies, we know what it can be, and so we're just jazzed about it, and we jazz it up in our minds of what it could be. But whereas something like She-Hulk, that I have zero excitement for whatsoever, literally just realized it was on, coming out, and caught up
Yeah.
and loved it. And so, like, maybe that's a little bit of something as well, is that our expectations are so high. There is a lot of superhero fatigue right now. They've drove it into the ground, and I don't want to say phoning it in, because these are, like you said, they're visual masterpieces. They may not be for everybody, but you've lost a lot of the feel for the story. I mean, it seemed like
Yeah.
in the first phase, the
It's almost starting to
Avengers
feel like a chore
phase,
going to see these movies.
it's in the Avengers phase, everything tied together, but it meshed. You know what I'm saying? Like it brought you in to go see this other movie because of this movie. And where it doesn't seem we're getting the mesh right now. We're not seeing where points are connecting together. And so I guess that's the bigger problem that I'm having with the MCU these phases. But yeah, I'm still going to go see it. I think that, we've invested a lot of time in this. I have been excited about this. I think that it, like you said, it's going to need to be seen on the big screen to be appreciated for a little bit more for what it is. And what they're doing these days is for
100%.
making movies for theaters, making movies to have theater sales.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. So let's move into our question for the internet, which ties in with this. You thought of this one. Who would win in a game of hide and seek? Ant-Man versus the Flash. And this at first I was like, oh, this would be good, but then I started thinking about it, and I think that this is such a one-sided thing. I think that, and I know that you're a fan of the Flash, but I think the Flash wins this almost instantaneously.
You think the Flash wins it instantaneously?
I think so. But here's why.
Round one.
Hey,
go ahead.
DC makes their superheroes so unimaginably overpowered.
Mm-hmm.
I am assuming that we are using their canon in the comics powers, which means the Flash can, if he's got 24 hours to do this, and the rules you put in stipulated that Ant-Man can't go subatomic. He can shrink down to 1 inch, which is still still a decent size. The Flash can use the Speed Force to duplicate himself, so he can have up to 20 Barry Allens or Wally Wests running around the world.
We will stipulate that it's just the Flash. It's not, you can't have multiple bases.
So he doesn't have all of his powers. He just has super speed.
I would say he can phase through things. He can super speed. He can run across oceans.
Can he stop time? Because he can stop time and reverse time. Is he allowed to? Can he stop time like he does in almost all the stories? Because then it's just a matter of time. He can just stop time.
I would say that's fine, but it's a separated 24-hour glass that's separate from the universe. Okay. That you can do what he wants.
So the Watcher has it. So the Watcher has it, and if he can stop Earth's time, okay. Then obviously, if we are giving Ant-Man a handicap, which we are doing, because we're assuming that Ant-Man has all of his canon superpowers, but we're taking away the Flash's, then I give the edge to the Ant-Man. If we're going in raw, and Flash just has all of his canon superpowers, then Flash takes it easily.
He can. I mean, but under your argument, like, is he able to just cover the Earth with flashes? You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of defeats the purpose. Like,
I think in the comics,
I
think one time he created
again.
Yeah, I think one time he created like 40,000 versions of himself.
You can call it a handicap, but again, Scott Lang is just a dude. Okay? He's just a guy with a suit. Okay. So, I mean, handicap or not, I think that without being able to duplicate, I think that Ant-Man went because the 1 inch and all the crevices, he can run around, Flash can run around the Earth super fast, but that's not searching through the Earth.
Yes. 100%. No, I agree with that. If with the rules that we've talked about, I think then without being able to duplicate yourself, without being able to stop the clock, without being able
without
to
any
do
of the
some
cheating
of the
powers.
Speed Force stuff.
Yeah, without any of the cheating powers
that
would ruin this.
He just goes down to an inch. His suit allows him to breathe underwater. I think in the comics it's like for like he has 36 hours worth of oxygen. He can just get in the water. And I mean, sure, Flash I think can super speed swim, but like he can't swim as fast as he can.
Would that work better? Oh, well, let me hit you with this though. Would that work better or would it work worse? Because I mean, again, I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but wouldn't he be able to like echolocate things when he's running on the water? You know what I'm saying? Like you see what I'm saying?
Maybe, like, but there would be. I mean, he'd be echolocating so many things. Like how many shrimps? Or would he echolocate and not even realize if it's Scott Lang or not?
But not if like that metal's got like some sort of echolocation type of ping on it. You know what I'm saying? Like that is one way.
And also Ant-Man could Ant-Man can also call his ant buddies to kind of cocoon him in some way or to hide him as well.
Yeah.
So
Okay. But okay, so I think that the round 2 is a little bit more fair. Ant-Man can change hiding places, but Flash has a week. I think that's easy money to Flash. And I think the Flash could very easily, because what we're talking about is on round 1 is just the percentage chance of the wide variety of the Earth. If he gets it first, because it's random location. So the Flash may be able to run around quick enough before Ant-Man can shrink down. So 24 hours isn't a given, but I think it's Ant-Man on that. But I think a week, even with changing hiding places, I think changing hiding places would probably hurt you, not help you.
Oh yeah, because then you're out and about. And I think that in round 2, that if we're saying that Ant-Man is allowed to get the help of ants, you got to think the Flash immediately for round 2 says, you know what? Let me go ask my buddy, the world's greatest detective, to go just to find him, because I'm sure Batman can just say, "Oh yeah, I've been tracking Scott Lang. He's He's been in jail 4 times. He's a criminal. I've got a tracker on Scott Lang. Here he is, right here."
I don't think that Scott Lang using the ants would be as big of an advantage as you would think, because they would be doing things in like weird patterns and stuff, and so the Flash is sprinting around the Earth. And he sees a bunch of weirdo ants. Like, what are they doing? And then, he can phase through the ants. It doesn't matter if they perform. They can get the protective cocoon all they want. But
the protective cocoon is more just visual, not to, like,
sure.
More so like if he's running, because ants do weird shit anyway. Yeah. So, I mean, if they just like, but yeah, I think that if this is a 3 round, I think with the rules we stipulate, I think Ant-Man takes it 2 out of 3 times. I think Flash needs a lot of, because it is truly a hide and seek. So this is not I think Flash needs a little bit of luck on his side.
Oh, for sure. He would definitely need luck in the 24 hours. I think that a week is more than enough time for him to locate. To,
considering how fast he can cover just the world.
And you mentioned ants do weird things anyway, which is true, but he would be on the lookout for ants doing weird things.
Yeah.
You know, like,
and if we are taking their personalities into account, Scott Lang's getting bored, bro. He's gonna go get himself some pizza.
Done.
He's gonna order some.
Him and Luis.
He's coming out of. He's not hiding for a week.
I think you said that I came up with this. I did not. I found this from our friends over at the Who Would Win subreddit. Somebody mentioned, you know what I would do is if I was Scott Lang is I would just hide in plain sight, like go have pizza, you know, like not even be Antman, just be Scott Lang and like a normal, like
he might not even know what Scott Lang looks like.
You go straight to New York City and you just like hang out. Like if it's Christmas time, dude, you just go into Times Square and you are lost. Like unless the Flash is bloodlusted and just will kill everybody and everything to get to him. Honestly, that's what I would do. Because I mean, you remember Scott Lang? He's like, "Oh, hey, you want my autograph?" They're like, "Who are you?" He's like, "Oh, I'm Antman." It's like, "Who?" Oh, he's like, "Oh,
I'm excited for you to see the movie." I don't want to spoil it, but there's a lot of good comedy moments. Yeah, there's a lot of good comedy moments in this. I will say that one of the critics that I hated. And actually, no, I'm going to change that into my Snaps My Stick. But this is another good time to move into Snaps My Stick, unless you have any.
I just wanted to say, I did hear that Luis wasn't in this movie, and the immense amount of disappointment that I have felt from that is great. So,
yeah,
you know who I'm talking about, right, Luis? I mean, I want him recapping. I want him. It's the guy that was, you know, when he was in jail and he was giving him a recap about what's going on. Yeah, Luis.
Yeah. Well, there is some recaps, but no.
Well, I'm saying from him. And honestly, I would just take Luis giving us a full recap from First Avenger to Endgame. Just him just recapping the world. Like if they did that in a short film. So it's funny that you say that. I was telling Megan that I want a short film of Korg recapping everything from what he's heard. I heard Korg and Luis. Korg and Luis talking, dude. Just talking the whole thing. Like, just.
Oh, yeah. Then there's this talking raccoon that, and
my boy Thor raccoon, man. They're talking raccoon. The talking raccoon, man. I know that talking raccoon. I seen him. but then all his buddies got killed, man. Got lost in the snap.
Let's move into what's snapping your stick.
Bobby and Brandon are about to find out exactly what snaps their sticks.
All right. So I'm going to start us off. Again, we've been talking a lot of Ant-Man for the last probably 20 minutes or so. One of the biggest things that the critics said was that Ant-Man was too dark and it was too serious, and which I want to say there was a lot of comedy in this, but they were saying that Marvel movies should always be more lighthearted and fun. I'm sorry, it wasn't that fucking long ago when Love and Thunder was out and all the critics said it was too lighthearted.
There was a movie in Marvel where half of the entire universe got wiped out, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like
this is not, first off, not too dark of a movie. 100% not too dark of a movie. But for critics to say that after those because literally someone pulled the receipts. Someone pulled the receipts of one of the big critic websites and said when they talk about Love and Thunder, saying how Marvel is supposed to be a real, like they should have strive for Oscars and they should, be serious and dramatic. And then the same people are saying that Marvel is a superhero movie and they should be lighthearted and fun and action-packed and bam, pow. Get the fuck out of here.
And honestly,
these critics, these movies will never win with the critics.
The subatomic world is where Quantumania takes place a lot of, right? Is that not spoilery? Yes. That's correct. Yeah. I mean, that was always not framed to us. That was always framed to us as this dark dangerous place. Like, you know, like, I mean, from the
and it
beginning,
is.
like
Yeah.
Hank Pym was
But
telling
Paul
us
Rudd is
about
Paul Rudd.
you
He's
know,
going to be funny.
right. I mean, I think it's got to be a good mix of it. So yeah, I mean, critics are never going to give it a fair shake, because it's superhero movies. I mean, they want some stupid movie where somebody moved to LA and like lost their virginity on like on a pond or some dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, just, you know, I mean, that's fine if you're artistic or something, but like, I don't really give a shit about this girl losing her virginity on a lily pad or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, if a goose was attacking the girl, I would be back interested. I'm interested again. But yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier me getting to go out in the great outdoors and play some horseshoes, great weather. I will say, snapping my stick, it's one of those things that I don't play often. I don't get to play a lot. So I know the skills that I could have, but I have to regain them. I'm a weak 0-2 in the 2023 season. I had 2 strong leads. Game 1, I was up at 12-5 at one point. Ended up losing, I think, 21-16. And next game, I was up 15-7. Ended up losing. I think it was 19-21. So I mean, you know, it's just I gotta close it out. But it's a new field. It's a new field to play. I've never played. He has sawdust out there, which is a great material for a horseshoe pit. But it's new. It's you know, it's like I'm Roger Federer. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could play with a sand pit and some grass, but you get me onto some clay, bro, and Nadal might take me out over there. But also Joe's pretty good at horseshoes, so I'm gonna have to really step up my game for sure.
Yeah, get after, dude. But all right, everyone, thanks for hanging out. Hope to see you all next week. Don't forget to join us March 2nd at Mayday Brewery. For Brandon, I'm Bobby. This has been Pucks Out Podcast. We'll see you all again next time.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Pucks Out Podcast. To see what other ridiculousness the guys are up to, check them out on Twitter and Instagram at Pucks Out Pod.